Hi, and welcome to Intuitive Insights. On this channel, we discuss everything to do with the Ascension process. And today we're going to be discussing the 444 portal, which takes place on or around April 4th, 2020, which is 4-4 and 2020 breaking down to another 4. I definitely am missing Kayla right now. She and I love doing these portal videos together. We will be back together doing our videos as soon as possible. We are still separated due to the quarantine, but that's all right. We're making the most of it and we're blazing on, and she is absolutely with us in spirit. Her higher self is here lending its energy and guiding us through this video. Another brief housekeeping announcement before we begin. I am offering Belvaspata sessions for $44 right now. Those are remote energy healing sessions, so I can send them to you anywhere that you are in the world. It is extremely effective, and it's a beautiful, beautiful energy. As it heals us, it also heals the planet, and it connects us to the 5D light grid. So this is beautiful, beautiful energy to be, I feel like Trump right now, beautiful, beautiful, but it is, it's beautiful energy to be working with and to be receiving at this time, and it really helps to tap us into that 5D consciousness. And I was guided to look at Belvaspata as really a healing modality that was gifted to us to help us through this ascension process. So if you're struggling, if you're not struggling, but you still want to give it a try, absolutely reach out to me. My information is in the description box below. So yeah, let's get started. The 444 portal. This is, something that I've been really looking forward to getting into for a while now. I've been anticipating it. There's just been something about the month of April, really. The entire month of March, you might have noticed if you've watched some of our other videos, I was frequently referring to March as April. And I've been seeing, as has Kayla, 4s constantly, 444, 444. There are definitely messages in there about, continuing on your path and being supported by your angels and your guides and continuing to put in the work, that success and positive manifestations of your desires are on the way. All that stuff are definitely 4 messages, but I was feeling something. It felt more significant to me when I saw the 4s, like there was some sort of message, something coming up that had to do with that. And when I realized we were going to be having the 4-4 portal would be a 444 portal this year because it is 2020, I got really excited. And so the messages have been slowly sort of filtering in. I definitely was sort of led to believe that there was some sort of initiation or activation that would be happening on this day. And I channeled a lot more information about that this morning that I'm going to share with you guys. But I want to briefly just sort of summarize what I received, which is that this is a major activation date. Right now, we're in the process of sort of purging out any of the old energies that no longer mesh or no longer are going to be complementary to the activations that we're going to be receiving. We're making space for that upgrade of light and for everything that's coming in with this portal. And so this can be a pretty intense purging process that we're experiencing right now because this is going to be a really intense upgrade. And so I saw this sort of as it's like a progression of souls along this ascension journey. And so this is, light workers, starseeds are going to be probably very, very much, it's going to be a lot of the light workers and starseeds that are being activated or in this process right now, paving the way for the rest of humanity to begin the process. And so it starts with an initial activation, and then it's sort of like we move along this I want to call it almost like a wave, but we're all these different waves of souls moving through this activation process at different levels, and each level activating the next level is sort of the way that I viewed it. And so there are many of us who are in this process of activation already and are receiving a deeper level of initiation and activation. And as we're all moving along in our process, this next initial wave of souls is being activated as well. And so this is going to cause a huge increase of light on this planet as we are all transmitters and receivers of this energy. And so the more people that are being activated and opened up to receive and ground in this energy, the more powerful the 5D light grid becomes. The more powerful the vibration on this planet becomes, and the more we anchor into the 5D energy field. I definitely got sort of an impression that this has they may have something to do with the 144,000. And when I tried to dig more deeply into that for you guys, I wasn't getting anything. And so I feel as though I'm not really supposed to get into that. You can definitely look up some stuff about that if you're interested. If something about that tugs in you somewhere and you're intrigued and you want to check it out, like, feel free to look up some stuff about that. But I think sort of where spirit was coming from was just that, like, I'm not supposed to get bogged down in the labels and the exact, terminology and all this different stuff, because it really doesn't matter. What matters is that we are waves of souls going through the initiation and activation process, initiating and activating each other, and just continuing to compound and grow this light and this frequency on this planet. And it's a really, really beautiful thing. So it's going to feel different and look different depending on where you are in that ascension process, and sort of in the beginning stages where you're just coming into this activation. And so this can be a time where everything it can be like a dark night of the soul kind of energy that gets experienced in the beginning of an activation process. Like right now, actually, a lot of people may be going through that as that initial sort of like, as we step into every next phase of our soul's development in this ascension process, we first have to have that purging and that releasing. And so the first time that happens can be especially traumatic because we're not necessarily really prepared for it. I mean, we've had some intense energies in general that have been affecting everyone collectively, and we are a collective, so we all experience to different extremes or levels these different energies. And so it's probably not the first time that anyone's experiencing a purging, but it may be the most intense. And so for those who are new to this process, welcome. You'll get through it, you'll get to the other side of it, and every time you emerge, you will be more beautiful and more empowered and more your true authentic self, more connected to yourself, more connected to spirit, more connected to your guides, more connected to all of humanity, all of creation, all of the cosmos, all that is. And so that's a beautiful thing. But in that process of connecting more deeply, sometimes we feel more disconnected than we ever have before. And so if you're going through that, you are not alone, and you are not doing anything wrong. You are right on track and right on target for where you should be right now and where the energies are right now. So bless you. We love you. You are so, so special and so important. And even though it may not feel like it right now, you are so, 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 so blessed. And your soul yearned for this experience, and now you're having it, and that's amazing. That's amazing. So just sink into the gratitude of that if you can. This is a really, really exciting time to be alive. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. So, yeah, that's what's going on. I also had some interesting stuff that came through. I think I'm just going to read it now. So I'll read you what I was channeled, and we'll go from there. So, the process we are currently in is a preparation stage that precedes activation. We are releasing that which needs to be released in order for us to receive the new energies that are preparing to begin the process of integration within us. Our bodies are preparing themselves, which may result in a need for more sleep or a specific type of nourishment. Chakras and corresponding organs may be irritated as they are purging old energies at a rapid rate. Old belief systems that are or will become problematic as we seek to integrate new light codes and information are being highlighted and brought to the surface to be released. We may be feeling a deep need for solitude right now, or a profound desire to go within. Meditation is highly recommended, as is yoga, breathwork, and anything else that seeks to harmonize the mind and physical body. We are approaching a state of harmony between mind, body, and spirit, 1, 2, 3, and are now ready to be upgraded once more, 4, 4, 4. Once this happens, we will once again begin the trifold process of integration. The more we allow ourselves to purge what is no longer useful or a match to our upcoming vibration, the easier it will be to integrate these new energies, and the more quickly we will reach our maximum vibratory potential. All souls are elevating to the next phase of their evolution and thus their mission. Those souls just now being activated are beginning the inner journey or first stage of this mission work. As they grow and expand, progressing beyond limiting beliefs and healing old wounds and karma, they are healing the collective wounds as well. As they begin to center into their new level of consciousness, they elevate the consciousness of the world as a whole. As souls on the next wavelength of the journey continue to evolve and share their insight and process with those on earlier stages of the journey, they step deeper into their mission and light work. Each phase of the journey of evolution is mission. As we evolve, our mission evolves with us. Every phase of the journey is important. Each wave created by the souls as they evolve tugs at the souls in the phase preceding theirs, and thus moves each deeper into the activation process. In this way, all souls will eventually become fully activated. All activated souls act as lighthouses or antennas that transmit spiritual energy from the cosmos and ground it in the earth. The greater the light that we are able to hold, the more consistent our vibration, the more light we can ground into the grid of Gaia. During this portal, each wave of souls already in this ascension process gain more light, and the grid is strengthened tremendously. As we become more conscious of our connection and of our place in this grid of light, we naturally attract even more light. The simple act of thinking about this process activates the light grid and causes the soul to glow more brilliantly. Therefore, meditation is a wonderful and powerful tool for connecting to this grid, but by simply acknowledging that this grid exists and taking even a moment or two to connect consciously with it, you are strengthening it. Every time we choose love over fear, we are strengthening this grid. And we are strengthening our vibration. Every time we help another, every time we pick up a piece of trash, every time we express gratitude, every time we engage in activities and act in ways that bring us joy, every act of kindness and compassion, every expression of love is a powerful force that strengthens our planetary vibration. This process cannot be stopped. It is happening and will continue to happen, regardless of the efforts of forces that seek to dominate and control. All that exists was originally born from the one source. All is one and all else is illusion. Seemingly negative forces are simply one of many expressions of this one ultimate energy and must transform and adapt as its counterparts do. The polarity of flow is resistance. Therefore, as the collective taps into the principle of flow, it is met by equal resistance. This is another way to say that when we tap more deeply into love, we are met equally by fear. If we allow ourselves to apply the principle of love to the other, less desirable of the two polarities, and therefore find compassion and acceptance for this opposing force, the opposing force is then integrated, folded back into the other, and becomes the one. This is the process of transmutation. This does not require that we make a judgment as to which force is more desirable. If we apply love to both, one will naturally be strengthened and one will be absorbed. The polarity that is absorbed was highly desirable from an evolutionary standpoint, but is no longer necessary once we have evolved beyond the needs for the lessons that it teaches. This is the threshold at which the collective finds itself now. We are in the process of evolving beyond fears, dogmas, and control mechanisms. They are becoming more pronounced because we are in the final stages of transmutation. This is the culmination of the lessons learned. Once we fully understand the lessons, we exemplify this understanding by choosing to act in love and perceive each apparent challenge and situation through the many lenses of love. The ability to make this choice initiates the process of transmuting the energies. We are being given the opportunity to embrace our individual and collective darkness and to view it with love instead of fear. As we learn to view others as an extension of self, This unites our energy. And when we then apply love to any given situation, we collectively and radically transform it. So there you have it. There was a lot in there. We talked about, it got into, and I'm not 100% sure what all of this means. I just was sort of writing it out as it was channeled to me. The mind, body, spirit, 1, 2, 3 seems to be some sort of, it seems as though it's saying is a process of integration. And so really the important thing to discuss with that, I think, is just the fact that we are in this, it's sort of like the wave of souls that I was talking about, right? And so we have this process that we're going through it. It's this never-ending spiraling kind of process. And so we have the activation, we integrate it, then we're activated more deeply, then we integrate that, and then we're activated more deeply. And so it's this constant series of activations and integrations that we go through. And we have minor activations and integrations going on all the time. But then we have these major activations and integrations. And so that is what we're talking about right here. And just that choosing love over fear and tapping into that grid, just thinking about that, just thinking about the fact that we are these transmitters and these transmuters of light, and we are grounding in those higher frequencies into this earth grid, into this 5D grid, and helping to uplift the planet's vibration. If we just think about that and imagine ourselves as this beacon of light connected to all these other beacons of light, we're activating that grid and we're strengthening that just by tapping into that for a few moments. And so I think that's really important to note, because I think I'm definitely one of those people who feels like I have to do all this stuff. Like there's all this work involved that I'm not doing and I'm slacking off. And like in some instances that's a little bit true, but in a lot of ways, like there's so much that just happens organically that we don't have to control. And I think that's really important to understand, is that like we don't have to feel like we're controlling this process. We have to get into that state of flow. We just have to allow this process to unfold and just naturally continue to step into the next phase of our development and the next phase and expression of our light. The other thing that I really enjoyed that I thought was really interesting, was that I started, thinking and writing about the opposing forces and how they, just showing that love, and how it's when we embrace what seems as though it's a challenge or an adversary with that love, we actually then integrate that. And so that's a process that we do personally when we're doing our own personal shadow work. We're embracing and loving those darker parts of ourselves and inviting them to fuse back into the whole, instead of being repressed and looked at as separate and isolated. And so on a grander scale, that's what we're doing in the world right now, is we're looking at, and I don't want to get too into this either, but there's always the light and the dark. So as we ascend, there is a force created that sort of almost seems as if it's counteracting that, but it's all just, there can be nothing else except that which is, and that which is love. Everything was created from that single unity consciousness. And so there can be nothing else. Everything else is a manifestation of that consciousness. And so we really have nothing to fear. That consciousness has, initiated or allowed us to initiate, or through us has initiated this phase of ascension and this raising of vibration on this planet. Like, it's going to happen. And so that's another place where we can't get stuck in the fear, and we can't get stuck obsessing and thinking about, it's what you put your focus on is what your experience will be. And I talked about this in the oracle reading, actually, I think that I did for the new moon, how important it is, like where we put our focus. We get to choose our reality right now. There is a lower vibrational reality, which is absolutely necessary and a beautiful experience for the people that still need to learn the lessons of that reality. But we're also having the option to split onto a different timeline and a different reality, which is that 5D timeline and that 5D reality. And so how we make that choice is by choosing between fear or love. And, faith, trust, acceptance, compassion, all those things are, well, everything is a version of love if we want to get super deep into it. But, just for the sake of understanding through polarity, all of those emotions and vibrations and frequencies that I just named are aspects of love. So anytime we're acting out of any of that, it's an expression. It's an expression of the higher octaves of love, I guess you would say. When we choose from the higher octaves of love, we are choosing that reality. And we are choosing that timeline and that experience. Both timelines lead to the same place, which is the 5D earth. But it's just like, how quickly do we want to get there, and what experiences, what lessons do we still need to learn, and what experiences do we still need to have to get to that place? And I think the more we're able to choose from that place of love, the more we're going to be able to see and understand that we're ready. Like, we're ready for what we're ready for. But if you are in a space where you're able to choose from love and bring everything back to love, that, you can climb into that, or, ride out that higher timeline, which is going to be, I think, absolutely, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I've had some crazy insights as far as that goes, almost to the point of like two different realities functioning simultaneously that almost can't even recognize each other anymore. So I don't know, it's going to be a wild ride. We got some wild stuff coming up, and we have this 444 portal, which is bringing us toward that next level of activation. And so I'm going to pull a couple cards just to see what the cards have to say. Right now, we're going to get some guidance from the Lightworker Oracle. Absolutely amazing cards. What guidance does Spirit have for us from the Lightworkers Oracle? Jesus, that popped out quick. What guidance does Spirit have for us from the Lightworkers Oracle? All right, you can come up too. Yes, okay. Any other? Okay. Okay, so we'll start with 31, which is alchemical transmutation. Your spiritual growth is changing your mind, body, and soul. It is very real. It is helping you fulfill all aspects of your divine destiny. It is awakening spiritual talents and attracting in new energies. This process will bring tremendous joy and satisfaction. Oh, this is perfect. I may read this whole thing because this is, yeah. The body changes as light enters. Alchemy is catalyzed and transformation happens. Sometimes the appearance of the body changes. There will be change in how the body feels, responds, acts, and creates. Radiance increases. Lightness of being increases. If you have clairvoyant vision, you will see the increase of light as though the person is actually lit up from within, because they are. Spiritual abilities become grounded in the body, and the person can channel healing energy just as naturally as they would set the dinner table. The spirit becomes a living reality in the body, and the material world is experienced as an extension of the divine light. This alchemy is an empowering gift of love. Symptoms of this process can be at times challenging, and so now we're getting into the ascension symptoms. So I think that this is especially guidance for those souls who are just entering into this journey right now in this first phase of their ascension or their initiation process as light workers and as starseeds. And so, yeah, it goes on to discuss, flu-like symptoms, fatigue, headaches, aches and pains. It sort of kind of comes and goes and ebbs and flows like a wave. So you may have a series of these, and I'm speaking from experience of these symptoms, and then they totally dissipate, and then you experience them again, and it comes and it goes. on the phase of my journey that I'm on right now, it's almost like reality or the solid matter looks more fluid. Sometimes everything appears to be breathing, or it looks like it's moving and I can see the particles in the air. It's just everything. I'm starting to see beyond the illusion and starting to see the fluidity of matter, which can be really cool in the right circumstance, but it can also be a little bit scary sometimes, waves of dizziness. There's vertigo. There's so many things that can happen, and it can be really terrifying, just that physical part of it. So this is definitely, I think, an important thing to bring up for people just becoming activated right now and stepping into this ascension process. We may also experience ringing in the ears, increased sensitivity to lighter sound, hormonal imbalance and hot flashes, excessive sexual energy, mental obsessions or mood swings, aggression, and unintentionally harsh reactions to people. If you have been experiencing any of the above and wondered if these or other unusual symptoms could be a direct result of increased spiritual energy affecting the body, then the answer is that this is very likely. Now, just a reminder, I'm not a doctor, neither is the Lightworker Oracle deck. So you always, you want to, especially right now with everything that we have going on, you want to make sure that you stay on top of that and don't just say, oh, it's probably the Ascension flu, because it could, which is our terminology for what's being described here, because it could be something else. So you always want to get the proper medical care as well. But it's definitely it's an interesting time to be initiated into this beginning of this ascension process, because there's all of us, I think, are hyper aware of our bodies right now. And, do I feel warm? I was convinced I had a fever for days because I felt kind of warm to the touch. And of course, all the thermometers are sold out, so I had no way of knowing what my temperature was. But we're hyper vigilant and hyper aware right now when we fall into that fear mentality. So it's just, staying on top of things and not dismissing things, but also not overly, freaking out, getting centered in that love consciousness, that love awareness, breathing, the breath, connecting with the breath is so important, and just learning to try to tap into our internal intuition and our internal guidance system during this process. Let's see. Yeah, and then it just goes on to say what I just said. And this is all basically, I don't even need to read the rest of that. That's just exactly what we were just talking about. Honestly, that's just confirmation. We are in this process of alchemy right now. We are, some of us, beginning this ascension process, getting deeper into this ascension process. We're going to be experiencing those things. Belvaspata can definitely help with that. So I really encourage anybody who can to reach out to me for a healing session. It can help to smooth out that, help to release those energies a little bit more quickly, help to ease some of those mental symptoms, and just really help reconnect us with ourselves and, with the earth, with spirit, with all of that. So definitely highly recommended. And then we got orbs of light. And so to me, this is really just, it's showing that it's that activation process. Again, that heart center is what I'm feeling from that opening up of the heart center. And just the fact that we're able to call on our guides, and we're able to call for assistance at any time that we wish. And that assistance is always available to us. And to just pay attention to those things, to pay attention to the little signs and the little messages. I think this card talks about seeing orbs of light and asking for information and downloads from orbs of light, and just that connecting into that divine love consciousness. But I'm seeing this too as just all of those little signs and symbols and synchronicities, because that's another thing that happens on the beginning of the awakening journey, is you start seeing those signs and those synchronicities. And so looking out for those and watching out for those, and those are all other messages and other ways that your intuition attempts to communicate with you and your guides, everyone. That's, the channels of communication are so many. when you start this process and when you start engaging in that dialogue and that conversation with spirit. There's a video that we did. Anybody who wants to know more about this, it's about synchronicities. I can't remember the exact title of it off the top of my head now, but it says synchronicity in the title of the video. It's, it talks about repeating number sequences. So scroll down and look for that if you are more interested in finding out more about that. Then we have, we'll go this one first. I think this one came out first, doesn't really matter. Unplugged from mass consciousness. And so I think that's pretty self-explanatory too. So we have here this process of transformation that's occurring, and then we have this listening to, and now I'm seeing this also as just tapping into that connection and all those ways that Spirit's connecting with us, as opposed to the mass consciousness, the media, all of the ways that fear is being spread right now. I mean, I'm not saying it's not important to have some idea of what's happening and going on, because there is a lot of chaos in the world, and it's important to have some awareness of what's happening, but not to get caught up in it. There is nothing productive about just sitting around scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through the news, listening for more updates. How many people have died? How many people this? How much that? What is, all of this stuff, it's not helpful. This is a time where we're really, being given a chance to look at what is the difference between mass consciousness and my own consciousness and my own belief systems, and where is that energy of the masses sort of tainting, if you will, or throwing off my own energy. It's a time where we are in that process where we are revolutionizing and changing these belief systems and these structures, and our consciousness is evolving. And so as our consciousness is evolving, we don't want to keep getting dragged back into that lower, for lack of a better term, consciousness, that as that 3D consciousness mode. It's so much to do with programming. We are part of the process of spiritually awakening is learning how to deprogram ourselves. And so unplugging from mass consciousness helps us with that process. And we actually have a really great opportunity to do that right now. A lot of us are out of work right now, or even if we're not, we're under quarantine, or, many of us are practicing this social distancing. And so we have more free time on our hands. It's a great time. A great way to unplug from mass consciousness is to meditate, is to really get in touch, with that God source energy and that wisdom that resides within. And so just taking a break from that, taking a break from our phones, taking a break from, YouTube, and just really going into that nice quiet center and seeking that guidance and asking for that guidance. When we put out those signals to Spirit that we're ready to receive guidance, we do receive that guidance. We have questions, we do receive those answers. It's just about putting the intent out there. Your intent is your most powerful tool, as my mentor, Glenn Jones, always likes to say. And it's absolutely true, just setting that intention. And so we also got initiation by water. And so I'll just look over that real quick and see if there's anything. Let's see. Ah, yes. Okay. So this I'm feeling is a card for those who are entering into a next phase of their spiritual mission and their activation in the ascension process. And it says, your spiritual path this lifetime involves you becoming a clear channel for Spirit. You are meant to communicate with higher guidance from the loving spiritual worlds. Your initiation by water will further open your receiving channels, dislodge lower vibrational material, and sensitize you to the subtle realms of light. You are being open to a world of which you may only have dreamed, such as its beauty, grace, and love. I love this. Actually, I got this card in a reading I did for myself the other day as well. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And so this is another, this is sort of like the initial ascension, initiation, activation experience. And then it's a deeper and a deeper layer that's sort of washed away and revealed each time. So we're in another layer of that process now, another unfoldment, and it's that purging of energies that's going on to make way for all of this light that we're getting ready to carry and we're getting ready to hold. So situations have been arising in your world that evoke emotional reactions and challenge your opinions and beliefs. You may not feel in control. You may feel like your world, your emotions have become like a stormy sea in which you are tossed about, and you are doing your best not to drown in the chaos. Yet you are not to fear it. It is stirring that which has been held within so it can be released. The storm will pass and the waters of your emotions shall become more serene. And so this just talks about the process of how you got mud in the bottom of a glass. Like whether you shake it up or not, the mud's still there. So you have to filter out the mud, because the water is not actually clearer when it's not being shaken up. It's just all sitting at the bottom. And so we let all that stuff sink to the bottom. And then this is what this process of activation, or this preparation for activation, does, is it shakes all that up and gets all that stuff out, because we want to be the clearest channel for spirit that we can be. And so all of the stuff, all of those little, even if they're just those tiny little particles of dirt, those little particles add up, and they dampen our ability to connect and to be, the higher our vibration, the higher the vibration of energy we're going to be able to channel. And, the more light we're going to be able to hold, to the more to strengthen that grid and to strengthen this presence and this ascent. You know what I'm trying to say. So we want to be the clearest channel for spirit that we can be, and we got to get rid of all the shit that's in the way, is basically where that all goes to. So it's just encouraging you and a reminder that, like, the pain that you're going through right now, if you are in this place, is a deeper level of clearing that's preparing you for this deeper level of initiation. And then we have on the bottom of the deck, Cosmic Heart, Cosmic Christ. So we've got Christ consciousness, which is an energy that we were also integrating with the 333 portal, the mind, body, spirit, the 333 being the Christ consciousness energy. You are elevating your vibration towards the frequency of limitless supply and unconditional love. Spiritually, you are reaching for a high level of attainment. Past pain and self-defeating behaviors shall no longer have a place in your heart. Christ consciousness is an expression of divine love that comes straight from the universal heart. It triggers a transmutation, an evolution so absolute that we are irrevocably changed. We increasingly become an embodied expression of pure divine will and an unwavering expression of divine love for all who are in need. This process takes lifetimes to complete. As you proceed, you will receive countless blessings to support your journey and fulfill your sole purpose of serving love. There will also be tests. These give the spirit a chance to develop mastery. We've been experiencing a lot of that lately. There will be tests of forgiveness, and that's been coming up a lot too. It is easier to forgive when you don't harbor resentment at natural limitations, which is like being angry at the sun for not shining at night. Natural laws prevail, so whether we are speaking of the sun, a child, or ourselves as we grow, compassion allows forgiveness to flow more easily. There will also be tests of power. As you grow, you will become more powerful. You can use that power to help or hinder others, to manipulate them through fear or encourage them with love. That's the choice we're all facing right now. Do I choose fear or do I choose love? Do I serve fear or do I choose love? Is fear my master or is love my master? You can nurture yourself on your path. or you can relentlessly criticize yourself for your errors. You can claim your power comes from some superiority you possess, or you can see yourself as a surrendered vehicle, animated in purposeful action through the grace of the divine. You may feel you need to sacrifice yourself for others, but you are just as much in need of love as any other being on this planet. When you are full and overflowing, what you share with others can enhance you and them. It's not a choice between what nurtures you and what nurtures others, as if though those were competing needs. In the realm of the Christ, what nurtures you is actually nurturing for all. When you are feeling diminished or drained, you have been pulled out of the higher frequencies of peace and kindness to yourself, become trapped in unforgiveness or power games, or seduced by the lesser truths of another rather than the truth of your own heart. Christ calls you now to receive his love for you and allow your own heart to feel the grace and healing of this. It can be a challenge to learn to love another in a way that does not harm you. Perhaps you learned that love was making yourself less in order to help another feel like more. This is not love, nor is it consciously chosen sacrifice. It is a heart acting out its scars from the past. Your heart deserves to experience real love. As you gently claim this for yourself, you will find much strength within, much respect for yourself, and a willingness to receive much good in your life. It is a time for you to embrace the higher expression of the Christ love within you. You have as much right to experience love, respect, and forgiveness as another. Sharing love in any way brings you closer to your spiritual mission this lifetime. It also attracts prosperity and abundance. Let the love in. You do not have to suffer to grow now. You just need to let love flow. And I think that this is important also because this is just a reminder and a message for light workers not to be martyrs. There's a point where we can get really carried away with the mission and we can forget to care for ourselves. And so that's another step in this process of initiation, is learning how to find that balance and learning how to care for ourselves as well as we care for others. And learning to operate from that place of giving where we feel as though we're being fulfilled as we give. We are giving and receiving, and it's like this, it's almost like they're happening in such tandem that you can't even distinguish one from the other anymore. It's not like I give and then I wait to receive, or I give and then I feel depleted and then I get something back. It's like we give and receive all at once. It's this fluid movement and this effortless just union of, the two are the same. They are meant to be the same and they're meant to feel the same. And if they don't feel the same, then that's a sign that we need to back up and take better care of ourselves. And so that's what I'm getting with that. And honestly, I think we're going to stop that one right there. And we'll take one card from the Ascended Masters. Okay. And we have Mary Magdalene, Teacher Awakens. You have something important to share. Follow the inner call. Don't let anything stop you. Boom. There we go. We've gotten this card before too, and this is just a reminder to light workers that part of that unfolding mission is sharing our knowledge and sharing our light with others and helping to guide others along this process. And so I can definitely speak and say that it can be a scary thing. Not everyone's meant to do it on YouTube or, through social media or through any types of channels like that. Sometimes it's a one-on-one thing with people. Maybe you're led to develop a healing modality. Maybe it's just the casual conversations with the people at the grocery store. It can be different for every person. Every one person that we affect creates an effect. They affect more people. It's this ripple effect. We're all connected. And so it's whatever way that is calling to you. But so many of us are meant to be teachers. We're way showers. We're the ones who pave the way forward. And then those that we lead along this journey lead those next souls and those next souls. And it's, we're all in this together and we're all at different phases of that. But as we begin to step further into this awakening process, that is what happens, is that teacher within does awaken. And, we're called to share all that we've learned. And we did have on the bottom of the deck, Commander Ashtar, call to action, which goes right with that. So I will, throw him up here too. Take charge, lead by example, walk your talk. It's just the same thing over and over again that's going on right now. It's like this is the process. We're beginning the process. We're seeking to disconnect from everything that distances us from our light and from our spirituality, everything that seeks to pull us back into sort of the old outworn vibrations and thought patterns. And then it's just a deeper and deeper level of clearing, connecting into that, being compassionate, being forgiving with ourselves, learning how to prioritize ourselves. And once we learn how to prioritize ourselves and how to give from a full cup, from a place of a full spirit, we then share that process, and we share what we've learned, and we stand up, and we fully participate in this experience, in this life experience, in this incarnation, in this great remembering and great awakening that is happening right now on the planet. Yeah. Okay. I was debating whether or not. I know I do this very non-traditionally for some people who read cards, but this is just, I go with the flow of whatever feels appropriate at the time. So, we also have the divine director, intervention, and purpose. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you are being guided. Happiness is your purpose. And so this is just a reminder that there's so much going on behind the scenes than what we know. And just to continue to have trust and faith and hope. And just to know that, like, if you put in the work, you will get the rewards from that. And the rewards aren't, and when I mean that, I don't mean like do things because you get something back, but I mean like the reward is a deeper sense of fulfillment, a deeper sense of purpose, living your passion, feeling that fulfillment and that joy. And that's what it means by happiness is your purpose. Like, your purpose is to do that. Whatever makes you feel joyful, whatever makes you feel good, that is your soul leading you towards that sense of fulfillment. And obviously I don't mean like, aversions and addictions and ways that we seek to distract ourselves and have that hollow sense of like fulfillment. I mean like true and deep fulfillment. Those things that move our soul. That's what I'm talking about. And so those things, you're being guided toward those things. Those feelings are guiding you towards your purpose. Whatever it is that moves you, whatever it is that brings you joy, do more of that. Do more of that. This is really, really exciting stuff, you guys. I'm not going to go any further with this. I think we've gotten a lot of good stuff here. We're all in different phases of this journey, but we're all on this journey together. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's a beautiful time to be alive, as I said earlier. And, sometimes it doesn't feel that way lately, but that's why we have each other, to remind each other of that and to be a support for each other and to remind each other of all the gifts and all of the blessings in every single moment of this journey. And so please, if you want to feel connected, comment down below, reach out if you would like an energy healing session, like this video if you liked it, just click the little thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you want to make sure you catch more videos. It's also just a great support. It really helps this video to get out to all the people that need to hear all of the stuff that I'm rambling on and saying right now. I trust that Spirit will deliver this message to who needs to hear it, but all those little things are great helpers. And there's also a link down below to donate. I couldn't quite figure out, the whole link thing wasn't working, so it gives the email if you want to send a contribution to our channel through PayPal. That info is down below as well. I absolutely love every single one of you. This is a very exciting time. Really take care of your bodies, get lots of rest, get lots of sleep, and just be really, really kind and compassionate and caring to yourself right now. And just know that every time we go through this dark night of the soul, every time we go through this intense purging of energy, we're making room for so much more light. And that's where so many souls are being activated right now. We are stepping into that next phase of the ascension process. More people are being called to action. we're all being called to higher and higher action, and we're all opening ourselves up to hold more and more of this light. And this process is underway, and there's no stopping it. It's gaining momentum. It's absolutely beautiful. You know, we are awakening, we are remembering, we are coming back to our truth as limitless beings. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So thank you so much for tuning in. And you all have a wonderful day. Happy 4/4.